meme review. So in this video I'm going to browse quickly through the white paper of Neuralink, the Elon Musk associated company dealing with human machine or brain machine interfaces. And clearly I'm not knowledgeable about this topic at all. I don't have really a reference for what the papers in this field or even neuroscience look like. So take this video as just an overview of what you can expect to read in the paper in case you didn't want to read it yourself, right? So I'm also trying to hold this short for my standards anyway. You can find this online, an integrated brain-machine interface platform with thousands of channels. This was released last week, so I think on the 16th of July 2019, and it goes with a 2-hour presentation. It's my understanding that they basically tried to went out of stealth mode to show roughly in which direction they're going, and so that they can openly hire people. And so if you just YouTube Neuralink or search for these titles, you will find these long videos. There's also a shorter one. I suppose this is just a short version of this video. I think I looked quickly into that. You have 40 minutes of Musk talking, and then different scientists, or at least the head scientist, and I think I heard some other voices discussing stuff that presumably is also part of the paper. And then some other reactions. I looked around a little bit. I didn't find too many interesting articles apart from one that said that Musk is also, like, in this video we will see some experiments on mice or rats. I think it's rats. And apparently they're also working with monkeys. So that's the direction in which this is going. I have here the version you find online. I also downloaded it simply for the sake of having not to deal with latency that comes with looking at the paper in a browser. So I will just give my 2 cents and then quickly browse through the sections. So the first thing I noted is that the title kind of reads like a secondary title. I'm surprised that for a white paper that there is not like some buzzword name, but so be it. And then the authors are Elon Musk and Neuralink. I would actually like to know how much Elon Musk actually wrote of this, or if they just put it there to, for Elon Musk visibility's sake. But nevertheless, if you look at the talk, it seems like he is well aware of the content of the paper in any case. Then, yeah, this paper in general is like full with pictures. They have huge pictures, and apart from the first and the last page, all of them have like pictures which cover half of a page. We're going to see them in a second. And so here, if you want to quickly read the abstract yourself, then you can press pause for a second. Basically, this is them presenting the direction in which they are going and speaking of some advances. So again, I'm not really of this field. I can tell how far the general space is, but they make a point of just stating that they developed for themselves, I guess for the moment, basically robot or like a machine to do this kind of surgery operation of injecting the so-called threads into the skull of the mouse or of the rat, and the whole thing is about reading out data. And it seems that so there are different materials that you can base this on, and the thing is that some polymers have some desirable properties, but it's difficult actually to use them there, and so they have this machinery of that enables them to quickly, they emphasize how rapidly it works, to put thousands of channels to the brain and read out data. Going to the end quickly, scrolling down for a second. They also speak of supplementary videos here. I didn't quickly find them. Maybe if you followed the links, I've searched the paper for videos, or links to videos, didn't see them. And I also found it interesting that they are thanking current Neuralink employees. I mean, okay. So from the style, it's pretty dense, like very long lines. Not necessarily what I like in a paper, but so be it. I mean, it doesn't really matter. What I don't like is how they make these huge pictures right after the subjects section name. So I think you should, after the section name, have some text and then the picture for orientation sake. But again, this is of course just ridiculous nitpicking. I wonder if this is set in Word or actually LaTeX. Well, also doesn't matter too much. And the one last thing, I mean, it's not too relevant, but I noticed, and I didn't quite understood, there are a bunch of numbers in the paper, and they are all of the form 3 times 2 to the power of some n. Right? So if you look at, like, I saw these numbers, immediately plugged them into Wolfram Alpha to see the prime factorization, and what do you know? It's like the power of 2, except it's multiplied by 3, and you have then later a bunch of these magic numbers, and I'm not sure where the 3 comes from. As you hear from my elaborations, I didn't dive too deep into it, but for that I should actually read some background material. So let's go through the sections. You have the introduction. This is a lot about the motivations for the brain-machine interfaces, and talks about the medical uses for which this is necessary. I know that there are like people who communicate with computers who are otherwise disabled via different channels. I'm not sure how well it works just using the brain, or how far the people are there, or how much degrees of freedom you can do. For sure, you cannot feed a lot of information per second to a computer. So that's why they advertise, and with their platform, as they say, that they have developed, it works quickly. So it's all about this rapid insertion of the necessary polymers. Section 2 goes on to discuss the threads, and it's a lot about material descriptions. I speak about how they need to get high bandwidth, of course, and then tuning the distribution of impedances, so resistances. Again, I don't really know what all these things imply, so just for your sake, this is what is discussed here. And they say that we have designed, manufactured over 20 different threads and electrode types into our arrays. So they're experimenting around a little bit, and later you also see like they speak about the rates and the success rates, and also in the video. So here you see then 2 different kinds of example designs of these threads that go into the brain. And then I saw in articles they also spoke about like that it's a little bit cumbersome if you have to get into the skull, and then how they want to possibly ease this and get around that, and we will have to see what that really means, how you can actually simplify that, because I suppose that a lot of access points are of course hidden in the biological structure of the head. So it's funny in a way that it kind of depends on how things evolved, how easy it is to access those things. So here with the robot, this is this thing that they have the picture of it, which does the operation, so to speak. They speak of the usual issue with stiffness of materials that you usually want to use, and so if they want to take the polymers, then they need and have developed this machinery that enables them to do what they want. So the robot registers insertion sites to common coordinate frames with landmarks on the skull, which when combined with depth tracking enables precise targeting of anatomically designed brain structures. And then figure 4, more of these I don't know, body horror pictures. In this study, precise manual adjustments were made to avoid microvasculature, so I suppose it's an injury type that might emerge with this kind of operations, on the cortical surface, slowing total insertion time from the fastest possible. So this is the improvement again, time stuff. I talk about electronics and the computing devices taking over data, and speak of the sensors that go with this thing. So on the one hand you have this USB-C, and on the other hand the threads, and they speak about having real-time temperature sensors, accelerometers, interestingly enough, magnetometric sensors, and some tables describing the computing device, and they speak of FPGAs and whatnot. Here they say, so this is this mouse paper, mouse. I always say mouse. I think it's a red image, and then I suppose how the thread implementations access the biology of the mouse, and they say physiological recordings were made as the animals freely explored an area equipped with the commuted cable that permitted unrestricted movement. And then they talk about the spiking signals and how many channels they access from the rat's brain while it walks around in the laboratory. Okay, and finally the discussion. Like my habit always in going at these papers is, you take the paper, maybe browse through the images, then you read the abstract and read the discussions, see what it all ends up with, then you go back to the abstract and start reading, maybe make some notes. In this case I didn't print it out, I just made some notes on my laptop. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if I will cover much more biological things in this channel, but it was an open topic, and I thought I give an overview so the people have an idea what they may find in there without reading it themselves. So I sticked under 15 minutes, amazing. I wish you a good night.